welcome to the Bad Project. I have my special guest, Ty.
Hello.
Jiu-jitsu buddy, PhD, guy who likes to party.
Yeah, I try to stay interesting, I guess is the best way to put it. I try to stay cool. Just keep doing cool shit. It's really my goal in life.
So, you were walking around the neighborhood yesterday for Halloween.
Yeah. So I could speak of the secret that my wife and I have been holding on to for a year now that it's officially out. But
exclusive.
Yeah, so she was a contestant on Squid Game The Challenge on Netflix, season 2. So she kept that a secret for a while. She did some filming in London for about a week and a half, and then came home. And then so obviously for Halloween this year, our costumes were going to be her in her tracksuit, and then me as the front man. I think the name of it is.
I was wondering if that was you in the video.
Yeah, and then now that it's released that she's been on the show, it's all about like she's famous, quotes. She's like Livonia famous now at this point. But yeah, we did like TikToks yesterday dressed up as the front man, which was pretty. I mean, that's if I am going to dress up and be on video, that's the awesome costume.
Cover your face.
Yeah, I'm covered in a black trench coat and then a mask. No one knows who it is, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, we did that. Walked around with my niece for a bit. I think we did a few houses. Then I went back and I was like, I had about enough.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs ate my dinner last night.
Oh shit! What was dinner?
We ordered pizza at the in-laws' house, and there were a few slices kept in the kitchen, and then we were all outside in the driveway, and I don't like to eat and drink, and I was drinking beer at the time, so I was like, I'm gonna eat those 4 slices of pizza later, and then I forget. I think it was Kelly. Kelly came running back outside. And she's like, "Yeah, the dog's got the pizza," and I was like, "Ah, shit, there goes my dinner." So I had, I think, a Kit Kat, a chocolate chip cookie, and a few Sour Patch Kids for dinner last night.
Perfect. I did want to ask you more since you had brought it up. When that season comes out?
Yeah, next Tuesday, November 4th, I guess it is. Yeah, November 4th. I don't know a time. His Netflix, probably like 3 a.m. or something when they release it, but I'd imagine it'd be released in episodes by episode type thing. But
well, and then obviously, without giving it away, do you know how she finished?
Yes.
Or do you have to wait?
I know how she finishes. I don't know anything really more than that.
Wow,
a lot of it. Yeah, she's been trying to keep us in the dark too. I mean, honestly, she could have really been selling it the whole time and just told us all where she's at, and then hoping she's a secret millionaire. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I saw her mom put that up. Is my daughter a secret millionaire yesterday? Yeah. And I was thinking, I was like, I don't know. Do I think Kelly really could hold it all together? For this long.
I think
unless they don't issue the check till later.
Yeah, well, that's what I think.
Until after it airs.
Yeah, I think that's what the producer said, is that if you leak it, you don't get the money, and you don't get the money, I think, until you actually the season is aired. I think is what she was saying, but I mean, there's a dollar amount. I bet she could keep a secret like that if it was $4.5 million. Sure. I think she could do it.
Huh? Well, that's cool. So has she been extra relaxed lately? Because you never know. That could be a sign too.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been keeping tabs. I probably should have been. But yeah, recently, ever since she was allowed to start talking about it on social media, she's just been posting about it. I did my first TikTok yesterday, which is sick.
You gonna start an account now?
Far from it. But yeah, I don't know. She's just constantly doing cool shit, which is one of the main reasons why I married her. She's always doing something fascinating. So
yeah, she's definitely a Renaissance woman.
Yeah, very.
She does it all
over.
Outside of that, it was a good Halloween though. Outside of the dogs eating the dinner.
Yeah. I'm not much of a Halloween person.
What?
I never been. I don't really like candy. I'm more of
a
baked goods guy.
I almost wore a Scooby-Doo costume.
Yeah,
for this.
I probably should have worn my frontman costume. But yeah, I've never been a Halloween person. I'm more of a I like the holidays of like Thanksgiving and Christmas. Preferred, what's the word? Like nourishing foods other than candy.
Nourishing
so, yeah,
foods,
so I'm not
all
much
right.
of a candy guy, but
All right. Well, either way, I mean, mine was all right. It's a lot of walking. Amelia did pretty good. She didn't really
good.
get it
Yeah,
totally.
yeah. I
Like
don't
she
think
after a
will,
while,
yeah.
she was like, go up to these people, more stuff. But she doesn't really eat candy, so it's kind of pointless in that sense. This year, next year will be different. But
yeah.
she was a little dinosaur, so that was pretty cool. I tell you what, though, the neighborhood wasn't as popping this year.
Really?
I feel like. No, I feel like last year when we were pushing her in a stroller and she couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a lot more kids, a lot more people out. I mean, there's some fun houses in our neighborhood who go pretty wild.
Yeah, do it all out. Yeah.
Yeah, they got arches and smoke and music. And
Yeah.
tons of things that jump out at you. But yeah, it was fun, but it's a lot.
Yeah. Did you guys? So this was something I brought it up to family yesterday when I was talking to them. But so trick or treat is when I was younger and trick or treat in my hometown, we used to like the person handing the candy out would say trick or treat, and you would either have to do a trick or like tell them a joke. So you would have to either dance or give them a riddle or like tell them a joke, and then they'd give you candy. But apparently, no one has ever heard of that before.
No.
Yeah,
I can't say I've ever heard that. I think from my perspective, the way it was brought to me was I say trick or treat to you. So it's like, you're going to give me some candy, or I'm going to come back and trick you later.
Maybe that is it.
That was always my assumption of it.
Yeah,
but, because like, I mean, it's kind of holding them to ransom. I mean, I guess either way, if it's your way or my way, it's kind of like you're holding someone to ransom,
right? That's what
what is it? Quid pro quo sort of deal.
Yeah, I feel like I had to like earn trees. Maybe another reason why I'm not much of a Halloween person. I was like, I ain't doing this if I gotta do jokes for you.
I'll go buy the candy myself. Oh, that's funny. I've actually never heard that. But you know what else? What do they call the night before Halloween in Pennsylvania?
Mischief night.
Mischief night?
Yeah.
So it's Devil's Night here.
Devil's? Is it the similar thing where you like TP houses and throw eggs at houses and stuff?
I guess so. But for whatever reason, Michigan went with devil as opposed. I think Michigan's like the only place in the country that calls it that. And even out, because I saw a map the night before and it was showing, red or whatever. It was like, we don't have a word for this, which was like almost the whole country. Then white was Devil's Night, and then there was a couple other Mischief Night colors around. But if you went more towards Detroit, it was more red, where they didn't have a word for it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So someone made like a pictograph of this. Like that's impressive. Yeah, we had Mischief Night. That was kind of, I don't know, that was a fun time. I prefer that over Halloween and trick or treat, and that's for sure. That was fun.
Was that like a thing you actually did? Because I never really went out. Granted, I lived in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to go out, I had to walk ahead of me.
Yeah, granted, my hometown was like a mile long, so it wasn't like we were walking far. But yeah, I only did it like twice because my second year was an absolute disaster. And one of my friends he did get caught by the cops. We had like a whole thing. We were dumb. I was like 8th grade, 9th grade or something.
You're bored
like that.
kids in a small town.
Exactly. But we ran out of eggs or something like that. And we went to the food store in the town to buy a carton of eggs on Mischief Night, which everyone knows, obviously, like parents work at the food store. And I think someone in the store called the cops, and we were in like the parking lot with like bags of eggs. And they're like, yeah, we just had like 3 16-year-olds come in and buy 3 cartons of eggs. We think they're going to go do Mischief Night. And cops came flying right down Catawissa Street and right into the parking lot. And I was like, oh no. And we all took off our ways. One kid I ran with saved me. He was like, no, come this way. And he was like the smart, he's been there before situation. Everyone else ran down the other way. And my one buddy got caught, and then he got taken to my house. And when he was at this point, I've already been home. My parents were cool enough to kind of know we were doing it just as long as like you're not dumb about it, and like if you get caught, that's your own damn fault type of thing. And we were just hanging out. I was with one of my other buddies, and the cop came to my house with my buddy, and my dad answered the door, and the cop was like, yeah, did you know this kid? This kid was like, obviously, he said he was hanging out with your son tonight. And my dad's like, yeah, I don't know who that is.
Never met him.
And then I think he just got taken. I don't think he got into trouble. I think they were just trying to.
Yeah, I always wondered that because I feel like there was a point in time when kids were allowed to be mischievous. Granted, you can go way too far with it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I always wondered if kids really got in trouble for doing that. Because, I mean, I used to TP and I used to egg, but that was just during the summer, and anyone I had a small grudge against or someone who wasn't. One time, we ended up feeling real bad. We TP'd this old man's house, and we took his flag down, his American flag. Later, we found out he was like a combat veteran.
Oh, no.
And we just went and put the flag back a different night.
Sorry, sir.
And we felt lucky that we didn't get caught because he probably could have taken us all out.
Wow.
Especially out in the middle of nowhere. But
poor guy.
Yeah, it wasn't my finest moment for sure.
Yeah, kids just being kids. It's really the main thing. I mean, different times too.
Yeah,
kids could be kids.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different now. But I just kind of an overview, I guess, more than anything, or as much as you feel like talking about.
Yeah, I could.
Kind of wanted to know about your town, where you're from.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there, and I really connected with the people.
Hell yeah,
I became one.
Hell yeah.
Well, speaking of that, you want one?
Yeah, yeah. Give me the nectar. Yeah, I'll go into it because it's the only way I could really describe where I'm from is really Yingling, because that's really what everyone knows. But yeah, so I'll start from the top. I grew up in a small little mountain town called Mahanoy City. It is a mile long. I think the population now is maybe 3,000 people. I grew up there my whole life. I always say if I ask people, like, do you know where Yingling is? And they're like, oh, I heard of Yingling before. And I'm like, yeah, it's about 10 minutes, 15 minutes away. So kind of how I relate to everyone outside of Pennsylvania. But yeah, so grew up there. Middle school was kind of cool. I was kind of on the fence of like jock and nerd, if you want to throw categories and cliques into it. We had such small classes, though. It was kind of a normal thing where everyone kind of knew everyone. My graduating class was 61, 62 kids maybe for a public school. So yeah, after there, I was kind of known as like the science guy. I wanted to be a physician at that point and go get my medical degree, which was kind of the goal up until a few years ago. But yeah, I went to college. I met a few good people there. They're my expensive friends, I call them, because it cost me tens of thousands of dollars just to meet them. So, but you've met all of them. But yeah, after got a bachelor's biochemistry, was still on that medical school route. At this point, getting a little bit discouraged because my friends were smarter than me. Like Colton was, you've met Colton before, but Colton was kind of one of my best buddies there, and he was the star child, we call him. He was the poster kid of the whole department, where he was captain of the football team, middle linebacker, going to medical school, early acceptance. He was like the stud. So I was not the stud. I didn't play any sports. I was kind of honestly really struggling with science, but I just don't think I was too good at. I didn't know how to study at that point, and I didn't really know my learning habits and what the most effective way of learning for myself was at that point. So I went to Drexel after that to get a master's degree, kind of figure out life still. I got approached by one of the alumni there, and she was like, yeah, you should apply to the program, come check it out, stuff like that. I was like, yeah, I kind of liked it. It was good for still pursuing that medical degree track that I wanted to do. And then went to Drexel for 2 years, lived in Philly for, I think, 5. Some of the best times of my life. Philadelphia is fantastic. Go Birds.
Haven't been there yet, but
awesome.
I look forward to it at some point.
if you ever do, please just reach out. I'll give you all the spots to go to.
I told you I want to try to go to an Eagles game eventually.
Yeah,
I don't know what Eagles tickets go for now.
Oh,
I'm sure it's starting to not be a working man's sport anymore.
Kelly and I were looking at them this year for the Lions play in Philadelphia this year. It's like Thanksgiving week or something like that, and I think the cheapest tickets were $450 or something.
Wait,
they were
for Thanksgiving or
no,
just
not
the week
not on the like Sunday before to Sunday after or something around it. But yeah, it was $450 a ticket. I was like,
for nosebleed type stuff.
Yeah,
man.
I was like, the travel out there, it's a whole work thing. Plus, gonna have to see family too, so I gotta take extra time off, and I'm trying to figure out. It's just expensive.
Well, unfortunately, the price of becoming a great football team again.
Yeah, that is the trade-off.
It's just it's gonna get crazy expensive.
No, absolutely, that is the kind of the trade-off.
Get it ready next to the mic.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Cheers.
It does have a different sound to it. I do enjoy that. But yeah, so they Philly was great. Philly was fantastic. I actually got to live with one of my I was looking for roommates at the time, going to live in Philly, and dumb luck, call it fate. One of my good friends from high school, Frank Chicatano, he was going down there I think he was working something with Temple. I think he ended up doing a program there, big into the sports administration, sports business side of things. And he was like, yeah, I'll be living in Philly too. And I was like, oh, great. I was like, sweet. Do you want to like live together? And he was like, yeah, we could do that. So he was kind of my rock during all that time down there, which was great too. He knew the city well. He was a big sports guy. So it really gave me the full experience down there. But finished school. Did cardiovascular pharmacology research there. I didn't say it, but I did like biobehavior neuroscience work at Albright for my undergraduate. Then moved to Drexel, did the cardiovascular pharmacology. Then went to figuring out what to do next. I had a job working at like the administration side of a hospital. I guess I used to have to travel to different family practices throughout like Western Philly and South Philly, North Philly. And it kind of gave me a exposure to the other side of like being a physician, working as a nurse, interacting with the patients. That's one thing that's cool. That's what everyone sees. But then the back end of it, like, are you hitting a certain quota? Are you seeing like, what's your patient turnover? What's the business aspect to it? And that part's kind of, are you pushing the right stuff? I was like, ooh, it's kind of ugly.
Kind of shows you a not human side
correct.
to what is considered to be a human profession.
Exactly. So I was kind of like, maybe this isn't something that I wanted to do. At the time, I was still working on submitting a publication that I did at Drexel with the lab that I was working in. So I was like, yeah, maybe I pursue this route. I was living with my aunt and uncle at the time, still trying to figure out what to do. Really, at that point, I was kind of didn't know what was going to work. I applied to a bunch of medical schools. I got an interview to one of them, I think. And that's an expensive process. I was like, if I don't get in this cycle, I'm going to have to do this all again next year.
Isn't it something like you have to pay for applications or?
Yeah, you have to pay for primary applications, which is, I don't know what it's at now, but when I was applying, I think it's like $75-$60 per school you apply to. It might be even more, honestly. Then they see if you pass like the fundamental criteria of like you're a human being and you have like a residency. They're like, great. It's like, here's the second application. You got to pay for that usually. Yeah. And then it's like the interviews. Most schools will pay for you to come out for the interview. Some may not. They may reimburse you and stuff like that. But I was like, I got to get in this cycle. If not, and I was getting denial after denial. And I was like, this sucks. Yeah. Especially in that point where my head was kind of like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do next. I was kind of just working.
Yeah, that was my question. Is like, you're going to pay for this stuff to do these applications, but did you still know? Did you know for a fact at this point that this is what you wanted to pursue, or was this still something you were just trying out? Because I mean, I know it happens a lot where people find out after they get their bachelor's or their associates type thing that they're like, oh, turns out I don't like this stuff.
Yeah.
So were you at that point just obviously farther along?
Yeah.
Or did you know that you were like, pharmacology, here we are?
Yeah, I knew I I try to keep things simple in my life. So at that point, I was like, I like how the body works and science. That was really it. Like it was pretty as dumb as simple as that is. So
Hey, people overcomplicate
yeah,
everything in life.
yeah. So I was trying to, and in that point, I'm glad that I was trying to keep it simple because it was more of a figuring stuff out type of thing. But yeah, I ended up at that point, I was talking to an Army recruiter about joining Special Forces, an 18 X-ray contract. I was doing all the physical training for that, which was fun and exciting. Don't have a doubt in my mind, though, that I would have gotten through. I think I would have been great. I think in another life, I would have done that for sure. But yeah, then while I was doing that, talking to a recruiter, that was kind of where I was heading because the medical school wasn't working out. I think I was applying to like PA programs, nursing programs. I applied to PhD programs, which is kind of where the track honestly went. But yeah, it was kind of like all over the place trying to figure it out. I knew at some point I wanted to merge the military with some medical science, all this training that I've done so far from like the academic perspective. So I interviewed at a few schools for PhD programs, Boston, University of Michigan, Drexel, and ultimately when I came out here to Michigan, the Department of Pharmacology was great. I mean, they know how to do an interview weekend. You have the balance of like going out drinking with friends and all the interviewees. You have the faculty was great. Everyone's kind of nice there type of thing. It's a good like homey feel to it, which is honestly what you're looking for at that point. But yeah, I was like, yeah, this sounds great. I ended up coming here and then been honestly probably the pivotal decision of my life, I'd say. Like the best one I made. I mean, coming out here, I met my wife a month after I got out here. I met you probably 2 months after I got out here. Like it's kind
really,
of
I guess I didn't even realize it was that all happening that fast.
Yeah. It was really, I mean, Kelly and I, we met on Hinge.
It's a great story.
Yeah, I moved out here. At the time I had a girlfriend who moved out here too, but her family lived out here, or her like side of her family. I forget honestly a lot of it, but that wasn't going to go anywhere. We broke up almost immediately. Like it was just a disaster. And so from there I was like just on Hinge. I was on Bumble, whatever, the Tinder, all of them, just trying to, I don't know, just meet people, figure out at that point I was 26. So I'm a little bit of an older, like starting PhD student. Typically you're coming right out of your bachelor's degree, so 22. So I was a little bit of an older person to go that track, but
might have helped.
No, I think that in the interviews, that's kind of what I pushed. I was like, listen, I'm more mature. Like I worked a job before. I was like, most of these other kids, they didn't work jobs.
And they're looking at you like, you worked a job? I've been in academia my whole life. What's that like? Blue collar man?
No, that's exactly it. It was funny just because of that. I was like, hey, I'm more mature. And they're like, yeah, we could do that. I kind of like this whole spiel. So, but yeah, Kelly and I met on Hinge. We met at a coffee shop in Livonia. I was like, we can meet wherever you want to meet, just like the safety. I was like, I don't want anyone to feel threatened here. I was like, we can meet wherever you want to go. So yeah, we met at Coffee and Cream in Livonia. She showed up late, which is just great because I hold that over her head every chance that I get.
Yeah, you're definitely a 15 minutes early type of person.
Gotta be. Yeah,
as you were today.
Yeah, I was like, my pop told me that he's like 15 minutes early is on time. On time is late. But yeah, so
Vince Lombardi there.
Yeah. But yeah, so I met her. She showed up late. We went in, got coffee. It was, I mean, an instant attraction. She was just, I mean, I could tell she was like fit and kind of cool when she was walking up. She was like, sorry, I'm late. I was like, okay.
So just trying to get in your head. This is strategy.
Yeah, I think it was all a tactic to see if I was patient enough or something. But yeah, so we got coffee. I think talked for like 3 hours, which is time was just going by. We're just super authentic to each other. The conversation was just going all over the place. And we're like, we both were we both knew what we wanted going into it, and we're both like no bullshit people. So we're like, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. Like, I like these aspects. You like these aspects. Is this going to work?
Yeah.
And then, after that, I had to go to class to meet with some of my classmates for something. I was like, hey, I really got to head out. And then that was, I think, the day before Halloween. Mm-hmm. So yesterday might have been like or 2 days ago might have been the anniversary of us meeting. Yeah. So fast forward the next day, she is downtown Detroit for like a Halloween party. I was throwing a Halloween party at my house that I had in Ann Arbor with my buddies, my roommates, and my cousin. And getting towards the end of the night, we were drinking all day, just having a good time. And then she texted me and she was like, yeah, it's like, I don't like where this situation's going. I was like, well, you could come here. I was like, you could sleep on the sofa. I'll sleep in the bed. I'll sleep on the sofa. You sleep in the bed. I was like, whatever you want.
Once again, sleep on the floor. It's all good. I want my bed though.
Yeah. I was basically like, here's a safe space for you if you want to come here. Like, that's fine. She's like, okay, I'll Uber up to you. So she paid for like, I don't know, like an $85 Uber from Detroit to Ann Arbor. I went to lay down in bed, which was obviously after a day of drinking and laying in bed. I was like, not a good idea. I zonked out so quick. And thankfully, my cousin Boom, who was like a night owl, was still up just patrolling the house. And he heard a knock on the door, went downstairs. So Kelly gets dropped off from the Uber. And the Uber driver was like, is this the right place? And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, okay, have a good one. And just took off and kicked her out, dropped her off. Yeah, I was like, that's insane. Like, her perspective of the story was like, yeah, I had no idea where I was going.
Could have slept on outside in the harbor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good thought. But yeah, so then Boom answers the door. And she's like, hi, I'm Kelly. Ty said to come here, and I was talking to Ty, and he was like, oh, yeah, he was talking about, he's like, great, yeah, he's downstairs. And she's like, okay. And then brought her in. We went downstairs where my bedroom was, and Boom's like, yeah, he's right down in there, and like pointed to the bedroom. And Kelly's like, are you gonna go wake him up? And he's like, no, I'm not gonna wake him up. And he's like, you can wake him up. Then eventually I got woken up, and then she was like, hey, and I was like, oh shit. I'm like, I'm so sorry I fell asleep. I was like, I really had no excuse other than I've been drinking all day and needed some sleep at that point. But yeah, then the rest is history. I think we hung out every day since then. Just been nonstop. So
hell yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. Like I said, I didn't realize it all happened that fast.
Yeah, probably within a month, yeah.
Yeah, and then you came to train. I mean, you'd been training before.
Yeah.
In Philly, some, right?
Yeah, I trained outside. When I was living with my aunt and uncle in Quakertown, I started training. September 2019, maybe. Trained for a bit. COVID hit. Obviously, the gyms were still finding ways to work out and train. Trained through there. Then once I came out here, I needed to find a place. Then that's where I met you.
Shoot, we were still in COVID out here.
Yeah, with the blocks stuff on the mats. Yeah, you're only allowed to train with these two people in this exact square.
Yeah, no farther. Honestly, that was a huge thing for me. I think that improved everything I did massively.
Yeah,
Dylan and I hanging out every day in the square.
Yeah, if you get paired up with the right person, that is a nice spot.
Yeah. But so you made it out here, started training out here.
Yeah, I was training consistently for a bit. Recently took a break for just to finish up school and stuff like that. But yeah, back on the track of my trajectory. So yeah, PhD, I joined Greg Tall's lab, been an awesome mentor. He's honestly, he makes, the way that I said it at my dissertation defense was, there's a difference between good scientists and great scientists. You'll come across, meet people with PhDs that are good scientists. They did the work, got the degree. Obviously, it's a huge feat, which you don't take away from them. But there's a difference between talking to somebody that knows, and there's like somebody that really knows what they're doing. Like people that know what it takes to like go deep with the rigors of the science.
There's people that know the information. Then there's people who can know it and use it.
Correct.
For what it's actually meant to be used for.
Levels to the game type of thing. It's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. There's black belts and then there's black belts. So I said the same thing at the end of my dissertation defense, and he's just been a critical mentor for that type of thing. Like he knows what it takes. He came from great labs of his mentor, so he knows how to mentor the next generation too. And the moment I saw that, I was like, we gotta link up. Like we have to be mentor mentee here. So great time there, been successful. A few publications, which was awesome. And then currently I'm a postdoc there at the university, just kind of waiting for the next chapter to open up, hoping the pursuing the Army as a 71 Bravo is the MOS. It's a biochemist and physiologist. So we're hoping, I got it offered a slot. So I think there's one of 4 slots they offer every year. So I got one of those, which is great. So now we're just finalizing paperwork before I could swear in and then get this rocking.
Do you have to do like a basic, or is it like an officer's type of basic, like a gentleman's course? Obviously, there's still something to it, but it's more of a gentleman's course.
Yeah, it's basically like that. It's a direct commission course, DCC they refer to it as. It's basically like a all things Army 101 course for like a boot camp for people that aren't 18 years old, basically, where they're not going to kind of just, I don't know, teach you the basics. And then right from there, you go into officer leadership course, which is like the officers leader course, obviously, but that's where it's like the first army step of like everyone does this who's an officer. So I think it's 4 weeks of DCC and then 12 to might be 14 16 weeks of BOLIC. So from there it's just training, and then I should get my duty station wherever that may be. We'll figure that out once that time comes, but
coming up soon.
Yeah, I should get my orders before I head out. So that should have everything, which is nice because right now Kelly and I are trying to, obviously we're always doing something new and trying to just plan, which is very
Didn't
difficult.
she just sign up for or get into some
she
new
just got
course, new thing?
Yeah, she just got accepted to Michigan State for their physician assistant program. So she'll be, I think she starts in May of 2026. So we'll be separated for that little bit of time there, just a long distance. But I told her in the grand scheme of life, 2 years is like nothing.
Yeah, well, and you two, you both seem like, you're driven to do something. So I think when you, obviously you miss each other, but putting your head to the work and doing the work, doing what you want to do, I think it would be is more beneficial anyway than being like, I'm just going to go with you, and
for sure,
then be disappointed wherever you end up.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So
That's the biggest.
I think it's better anyway. And I think a lot of couples would have trouble with that, but I don't really see you guys.
Yeah, no. And I don't either. I think we're both career driven. We both like to keep, like, I don't know, progressing in our careers. I think we at this point have a great foundation of communication and all the other words that they use for foundational stuff, but we have like, we know that like what the effort it takes, we trust each other, all that stuff. So I think plus it kind of gives us a chance to kind of focus on, like, I'll be starting a new career with something I'm really passionate about. She'll be starting schooling with something she's really passionate about. So it gives us that chance to kind of hone in and focus, but then we both know we have that foundation we could kind of fall back to like if things do get tough, which they will. I mean, it's not like it's going to be a perfect sunshine and butterflies type of thing, but
yeah,
I think a necessary sacrifice for sure.
Yeah. So I guess now that you're a doctor,
it's weird, man. Really weird.
So I guess right now, do you still have to go in at all, or do you just kind of hang out?
Yeah, I mean, now my new role is a postdoctoral researcher. So it's basically just an academic role. I'm still in the same lab with Dr. Tall. So now I'm just more of like a senior, I guess I'm faculty considered right now, which is also weird to say. But
so like what, people come to you with questions and you help them sift through stuff to help them learn it, or or you check things?
Yeah, I'm basically now I'm training rotation students, basically training students that I was just a student of. So it's kind of cool because it's very recent for me. But Yeah, I'm doing like training rotation students, first year students that are joining the lab, stuff like that. I'm still doing my own project, but now it's more so like I get the ropes to it. Whereas like instead of like I still have the mentor guidance, of course, if I ever have questions and stuff like that. But after 5 years of training in one, the same lab, but also the academic environment, you at this point should be able to carry out your own studies and your own projects. So it's cool to kind of put together like how the basically like a hypothesis
of your effort.
Yeah, like kind of apply everything that I just learned the last 5 years of like, here's a hypothesis. This is what it looks like. It's like, how are we going to test that hypothesis? And then you could develop experiments and develop protocols and then test it. And then you're like, oh, that worked. It's like, that's sweet. It's like science in real time type of thing, which is cool.
Well, that'll probably be good for once the military starts up too. Cause then, I mean, obviously you're going to come in at a certain rank.
Yeah.
There's going to be people below you. There's going to be people above you, and you're going to be able, I mean, you're already kind of doing it. Newer people, you'll bring them up.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously you'll be brought up hopefully by some good leadership.
Yeah. That's one of
you.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons why I chose. I mean, like I said before, I always wanted to merge the military in at some point. I think the interesting thing with the military, though, is that they kind of respect your training, like in the civilian sector of like, I've acquired this PhD, which is like the highest academic degree you could achieve. So they know you're capable of leading other students. The postdoc stuff that I'm doing now is actually really cool because I get to lead these students on their own projects. And then that's, like you said, directly applicable to where I'll be heading of like running a lab or whatever blood bank or whatever the Army has me doing. Hopefully working on aliens or something. That'd be cool.
Aliens and bioweapons.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's cool though. I mean, it makes sense though that they would respect that because it's not like, I mean, a lot, at least from everything I've heard, whether it's like free fall or jumping out of planes or something.
Yeah.
People, I've heard guys talk about they put 8 hours of instruction into 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So like you're just fucking around forever. Yeah. Where in the civilian sector, a weekend you can be certified
for sure.
Jump by yourself. So I mean, it makes sense that if you put the work in and went to college as opposed to just climbing your way up from private to whatever.
Agreed. Yeah. No, I think that's
private scientist.
Yeah. I think I go in as a captain. I think it's an 03. But yeah, that's honestly like the most exciting thing. Plus, I mean, you don't really right now the job sector which is like a woe is me type of thing, like a PhD complaining they can't get a job. It's like
age old, sounds like a classic conundrum there.
Yeah, but that's the job market's so bad now for industry, government, all that stuff. So that's also a nice little safety blanket there. But the nice thing is that I've been kind of pursuing it for such a long time that like it's genuinely something that I want versus like a fallback plan type of thing.
Hey, that's all you can ask for. I mean, I'm still like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the podcast full time, but like this is the kind of stuff I'd like to do. And I hope
for sure.
I've never known what I wanted to do. Never, ever, ever.
Yeah.
So I've never had anything that just called to me that I was like, yep, that's it. But I've always liked helping people. So hopefully.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to try to make work now.
It is. That is such like a weird thing though, because I think it's funny too. I mean, obviously I've been part of the school system started at 4 and I'm technically still part of it. So what, 27 years now or something like that. It's insane. So I think that the way the schooling system is set up is very, like at 18, you shouldn't be deciding what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Obviously at 18, I didn't know anything. Like that's insane.
I mean, what really sucks about it is the hard lesson you have to learn if you go through it all. Decide you don't want to do it, or go all the way to where you're at now, but don't go to the military, and then don't have a job.
Yeah,
and can't get a job,
and
you just got $200,000, $300,000 in debt, where you're just like, this was a mistake. It took me so long to realize. So I'm glad you found a way to make it into something.
Correct. Yeah. No, I am very much grateful for the position that I'm in for sure. I think there's a lot of different tracks and routes that this life could have taken me. And I was like, I'm glad that I ended up where I am. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, no offense to other PhDs, but I feel like more often you're like, hey, can I have an Americano, as opposed to read me something.
Yeah.
Tell me about what you do.
Yeah.
Which sucks, and it's not the way it should be. But I mean, since you've been in it so long, how do you feel about school, like as a whole?
I mean, yeah, I think I truly.
How would you tell someone to approach school for what they might be interested in, as opposed to something else?
It's tough because, as I was saying, like, you can't really decide what you're going to do at 18. I mean, there's some kids that obviously know what they want to do, and they're like, I want to be an astronaut, and actually go and be an astronaut, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the way the schooling system is set up, which is obviously, if you've ever been on the internet, everyone is all focused on the that it was made to like produce workers to go to the factory, just like a baseline knowledge, and then you kind of go for that. But I think now there's different. I mean, schooling is kind of an odd thing. Obviously, there's like private schools, the public schools, all these other different types of avenues you could go. The homeschooling route, I know Kelly and I are going to homeschool our kid because I think
thinking about it too.
I think we're both educated enough that we kind of got a handle on it. Like I said, 27 years in the business, I'll be able to teach them what is necessary, what's not necessary. But
yeah,
the goal of it, the schooling system, is to kind of, you keep building off what you learn of like the previous year. Obviously, you go through, even in like, from undergrad, you learn stuff to your master's degree, to your PhD. Like, even at those higher levels of education, you're still building off what you learned. But genuinely, there's like, you take classes that have nothing to do with what, like, like I study adhesion G protein coupled receptors, which is the specific subclass B of GPCRs. And it's like this super niche thing that I think 2 classes may be applied towards. Otherwise, everything else is like, I don't need to know anything else. You kind of learn it as you do the project type of thing. So going back to the actual schooling system, I mean, until you figure out what you want to do, and then you learn all things about that field that you go into, whether it's contracting work to working in a lab, an astronaut, firefighter, whatever it is, you could hone in on it. It's tough because you're kind of just shit at the wall, see what see what sticks type of thing. But it is an odd thing. I think nowadays, I think the trades are going to take over. I think the trades are the way to go. Genuinely, I think there's a lot of kids are going to school, and they're, unless you go all the way through and get like an MD, a PhD, like, schooling's really tough because you're just kind of, you'll get a job. I was working at Merck for that little layover before I started my PhD, and you'll go through. I had a master's degree at that point working at Merck, and I was capped at basically how high I could climb. And I only worked there for 9 months, but I knew immediately, like, I wasn't going to be running a team or anything like that with a master's degree.
Just because of a master's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I knew I was going somewhere that was like I knew my destination. I knew it wasn't going to go any higher than that ever, until I went and got a PhD and I could actually like run a lab now. So that's why I like immediately stopped. I'm like, I'm not going to kick rocks here. I got to go do something.
Did you ever interact with other people there at Merck, or was this more of a like offsite on the computer type deal? Yeah. Like, I guess, was everyone a PhD, or was everyone have a master's and they were just fine with not going any higher? No,
it was kind of a weird job that I had there. I was like part of a stability testing team. I was working on the Keytruda project, which is one of like the main cancer drugs that are out there now. But basically, the lab that worked with us was testing the stability of the sample in varying conditions, and then I was like a data analyst, I think my title was, where I just look at the data, see if it made sense. If not, I would go back and like troubleshoot with the scientist in the lab, being like, but they were all technicians, and I could, my job in the lab would have been a technician if I worked that side. I was more so like the Excel sheet computer guy, making sure the data made sense type of thing, and signing off on it, being like, yeah, this looks good.
Okay.
But yeah, very very weird job. I knew I was.
Does the drug work? Sort of.
Yeah,
sometimes?
no, it's honestly, it's one of their blockbuster drugs that Merck has right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way that the pharma world works. They kind of, if you could repurpose a drug because you've already done all the safety and toxicity testing on it, you could basically skip that part in the FDA process and just keep it rolling. So I think it originally was, don't quote me on this, but some small cell leukemia or maybe a lung cancer it was passed for originally, and now it's used as a combination therapy for almost all cancers because they're just like, yeah, it's safe and it inhibits, it inhibits the cancer cell progression. So give it with chemo, give it with this drug, give it with that drug. And it's basically what you want from a pharma company. Like Merck's probably like, yes, this is it. This is exactly what we want.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how, I mean, I don't even know the name of the medication, but I've heard of people like, this guy got shot and he was taking a medication that its secondary effect was nerve pain or neuropathic pain relief, I think was how he said it. But originally it was a drug that was for seizures in children.
Wow.
And the secondary effect was it had a neuropathic nerve pain relief or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder if it was, I guess that's like more so central versus like periphery, but
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
No, I mean it's really interesting. I mean, if you're able to safely use it for something else, that's pretty cool.
Obviously, it's the biggest.
It's kind of like when you hear that, you're like, oh, it's a children's medication for seizures.
Yeah.
Now I'm this guy's a grown man taking it for nerve pain.
Yeah, there's a lot of. there's countless things like that.
Is that just like accidental, or they just find it through the testing process?
Yeah,
they're like, hey, check mark that. Maybe we can use it
usually
here or later on.
Yeah, typically you kind of have an idea of like what you're testing, and like it makes sense through the cellular mechanisms that like this drug should have an effect based off this mechanism that it works through. But I mean, one of the best things I learned from Drexel was we had different people coming from the industry. So from like Merck, GSK, all these other like big pharmaceutical companies, even like lawyers that worked on patents would come in and talk to us, which was great because it kind of gave you an idea of like the drug pipeline and how it works. But the one guy came in and talked to us and he was like, most of the pharmaceutical world is based off of serendipity, which is just like a random discovery where you're like, oh, wait, this works. And then they're like, yeah, let's run with it. And then it ends up being something huge.
Well, it's kind of funny you say that because to me, I kind of feel like, at least way back when science was not new, but newer, and like people were working with, people didn't even know germs necessarily existed, right? Which I thought was, maybe I'll get to that in a minute, but it's kind of funny that it's like they accidentally find it.
Yeah.
And but people don't want to think like that. They want to be like, you went to school, you did all this stuff, you just know.
Yeah.
When really you're running processes, you're trying things. Yeah. You have a goal in mind.
Yeah.
But you kind of find other stuff along the way as opposed to maybe exactly what you were looking for, which is kind of like what life is anyway, right?
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it's kind of like you're saying, it takes away the credibility of them where they're like the person didn't work hard and didn't go through and knew what they were doing the whole time. Where I mean, and that's
not how I feel. But it's not the truth.
Yeah,
but it just happens.
Yeah, no, exactly. And
you don't honestly always get what you want. Sometimes you get what you need.
Yeah, sort of absolutely. I think that's the majority of the. I think that's why I like science so much is because you're kind of just treading water, figuring out what's going to work, what's not going to work, and then something works. You're like, oh, I'm going to go over here. Yeah. And then you do something here. You're like, oh, that didn't work. We're going to go back over here.
Do you think, so my whole life, I've always heard like medicine is a practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always thought, like Garrett and I've always talked about like, oh, we should start saying that about construction. Like when things go bad, we're like, well, it's a practice. It's not an exact science, man. I don't know. But do you think, do you think people should view science as more of a practice as opposed to, I mean, obviously there's a million things that are set out and like guidelines that you've had from whenever people started writing things down till now. Do you think that it's a bit more of a practice, even though you have a goal in mind? It's like, you don't know exactly how it's going to work every time.
Correct. I think yeah, practice. I think it's tough to use that phrase.
Yeah, you don't have to by any means. I'm just throwing it out there.
I mean, it's tough to say practice when you're working with like human lives at stake type of thing. So I understand where that is like difficult to use in that sense. I think the best example of this is COVID.
Mm-hmm.
When COVID was obviously, that was a good example of a lot of people who aren't scientists seeing science happen in real life. Like 90% of the projects or assays and experiments that I do are unsuccessful. But I mean, you troubleshoot. That's how you get stuff to work, is like you do something. Oh, that didn't work. Change a variable. Oh, this worked. Okay, keep it moving. Oh, this didn't work. Variable change. And the COVID pandemic and how that happened, it was like, oh, the masks work. Okay, cool. Because they had data that supported it. And then they moved a little bit further and they were like, oh, the masks don't work. Okay, take away the mask. Okay, 6 feet apart. Wait, 6 feet apart doesn't matter. It's like, it's airborne. It's not airborne. Like they have all this. It was just like a true depiction of what happens in like I'm a lab benchtop scientist. So like what I'm doing is like test tubes, pipetting protein into like other tubes, like obviously at that scale, which is why it was so magnified and so drastic when something would be like, oh, I can't believe they would tell us to wear a mask. And it's like the scientists running it, like, I mean, they're respected scientists. I mean, they're working for the NIH and these high organizations. I mean, do I think there's some corruption in there? Sure. As with any other, I don't know, company that's happening. But I think it was a good spotlight and a good example of non-scientists seeing how science works. And I think it got kind of like blown way out of proportion.
Yeah, I think the unfortunate part of it was they kept saying it.
Yeah.
They kept not even contradicting, but it sounded like to everyone else they were contradicting themselves over and over.
Yeah.
It was like 1 week this, next week that, next week this, next week that, double mask, whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's where it became like you're just bullshitting me now.
Double mask. That's insane.
That's how at least I felt, because I am a non-scientist.
Correct.
I was like, dude, you're just bullshitting. I think if they would have, I mean, don't get me wrong, like we want open, honest, clear communication, which we'll never get from the government.
Yeah.
But I think if they'd have shut their mouths and just said it once or twice, they probably would have gotten away with a lot more, where people would have been like, oh, science is improving and we're finding this out now, as opposed to this is all bullshit.
Yeah, you know I could absolutely see that, because from that perspective that you're talking from, it makes complete sense, because you're in kind of like the dark. You don't know what's happening. It's just like your buddy being like, hey man, you going to be here? He's like, yeah, I'm going to be there. Oh, I'm not going to be there. And then showing up and you're like, dude, I had changed. Everything changed now. I have different plans. Everything's different now. Yeah, it's kind of, and like I said, it's this odd, I think transparency is the biggest thing. Obviously you want to be as transparent as possible. I think a lot of it was honestly
the most transparent that I think they've ever been.
Yeah, which is why it didn't work out, because the more transparent that they do, it's kind of, you see how it really works and you're like, this isn't efficient at all. This doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like having two different staffers telling you two different things, and you saying one thing in one press conference, then the next week you're in the next one being like, oh, well. I mean, sometimes I think those people, politicians in general, talk so much that they can't ever, how do you keep anything straight? But also that comes with, if you're telling the truth, then you don't have anything to lie about. So,
I think they have that's the other thing too. I mean, you think that, I mean, the phrase, you can't please everyone is, I mean,
if you're probably doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem is that every politician tries to please everyone, and it's like they
get nowhere.
Yeah, it's 101. I mean, you can't please everyone, so you just got to stick to what makes sense. But I mean, logically.
Well, I was just rewatching kind of while I was playing on my phone, Game of Thrones. You want another? And that's what Jon Snow was just talking about, bringing the wildlings through the ice wall.
Oh, thanks.
You watched Game of Thrones?
Yeah. I watched it when it first came out. I was kind of big into it, but I haven't seen it.
Well, so he had just become Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
And
some cool shit in that show.
He was talking to, I can't remember the dude's name or who he's supposed to be, but he was one of the last Targaryens around, but he was at the wall, so no one really considered him around anymore. But he was like, it was Aemon Targaryen. That's his name.
Gotcha.
He was like, John's like, he's like, I have to make a decision, and I'm worried that 50% that 50% are going to completely disagree with me or not like me.
Yeah.
And then Aemon's like, 50% of them already hate you. What's it matter now? So that kind of feels like if politicians would be a little more in that vein, where they would pick one thing to go for and go for it, as opposed to making concessions along the way. I think they'd get a lot farther.
Yeah, I think so too.
I guess I do. I want to ask you about it.
Go ahead.
What do you think of Anthony Fauci as who he is now? I mean, I know there's just been, there's been books written about him. He's written his own books. I think he was probably a good guy at one point.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was before or after AIDS. But all that stuff was pretty damning, at least from what how it's been phrased to me. So
yeah, it's tough. I mean, I could talk from like this, obviously the high level scientist position that he was in. Like that's insane. Like the responsibility, also being the face. Like the moment you accept to be the face of something like that, you're also the fall guy. Yeah. Which is, I think, what happened. I think also once you get into that type of spotlight and popularity, everything comes out. So what you did 30 years ago, guess what? That's getting ripped apart. So, and you don't know that as you're like young and living through that time. Like you're not sitting there thinking, oh, like when I'm heading the whole NIH and running the COVID scan.
You probably thought he'd never even be there. I mean, it's kind of like that. I mean, no offense to the guy, but a nerd who all of a sudden became super popular out of nowhere.
No, that's exactly it.
And probably doesn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, well, I think that's
maybe coupled with a little bit of autism, where every time someone takes a shot at him, he feels like he needs to get back at him.
Yeah, I think it's a tough spot to be in, and obviously everything else that came out about him, I don't know. I think anything in that type of role, I don't think anyone really succeeds. Like I'm sure anyone put into that position is going to have something come out about him.
Everyone's got skeletons.
Correct. And I think like you said, I think he was a good scientist at one point. I'm sure he did great, and he did do great stuff. I mean, the publications that he's done and the work he's done is kind of foundational for his fields, but again, tossed into that role, that's tough.
Yeah, I feel like once you're the head of the NIH, you're not really doing science anymore. It's all administrative work for the most part. Like you're probably, if you might get something that you're supposed to look at and look over, and you're like, well, looks good, but you didn't sit down, run the test yourself, check it out, like really peer review it. You're like, I respect the guy who gave this to me. I respect his team, his people. Yeah. Everyone else has said that's pretty good, whatever, or it looks good, looks promising, and then you're like, all right. Yeah. It's just like anyone who writes a speech for a president. I mean, most of them don't write their own shit.
No, I think
how could you be bothered to write everything and run the free world sort of deal? So I get that, but I think he might have ended up a little out of touch with the actual science part of it.
Correct.
As opposed to the administrative.
I nail on the head
spot
there.
He had to be in.
Yep, I nail on the head. He, in that type of situation, like you were just saying, like you spot on. You get to that high of a position, you're just receiving like memos and like little meetings of like, this is what's happening in the lab. But you have so many people that are doing the actual science that, like, obviously you relay that information to the best of your ability. He could analyze data. Obviously he's the PhD scientist. So at that level, you're capable of it. But I mean, does he know what's happening on the day to day? Does he know the protocols are being followed properly to the T? Like,
yeah. Do you think there are people who, there's people like this in every field, but people who might make things look better than they actually do for themselves or for their career, their career path, their grants, their this, their that.
Yeah.
Because I've heard some pretty shady things about some the way that people can produce studies.
Yeah, yes, that is a very real thing, especially within the academic setting. I've seen it a few times. I think a lot of it stems from the stress of the academic environment, kind of like the saying is publish or perish. So like you got to get publications, got to produce data, got to get this stuff rolling type of thing, because funding is only finite. Like you got to keep producing stuff so you keep writing grants, kind of keep the money coming in. And it's also for your own name as like plus you're a young scientist, you're kind of don't know what's going on. You just want to make people happy, stressful, cutthroat. You're kind of like, oh, but look at this. And then it's like a cool looking graph that happened. And it's like, how did you get that to work? And you don't really know, but there's like little, numbers changed. The reason I know this is because there's kind of a lab that they're from, I forget the university in China, but they published some stuff. Data doesn't look good. We started to work on that similar project as them. They said steroids activate a receptor that I was working on. We did basically their same exact thing and dumped a bunch of steroids onto the receptor and it did nothing. And we're like, how are you getting it? They have like, you could kind of cheat graphs in the sense of like, if you make the y-axis huge, it makes the difference between like the two lines on the graph look huge. So it's like, oh, just by first glance.
It's all perspective.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like, oh, look at the huge effect you're seeing here. And then it's like, oh, but if you look at the y-axis, it's like a hundredth of a decimal difference, depending on whatever assay you're doing, of course. But you see stuff like that. And then I've been a part of it in the sense of like both of the papers that I published, one that's in the pipeline of being published, one that I did publish, of previously published data that was accepted by a journal and out there into the whole scientific world to read and cite and be like, yeah, this is like true. And then just going back to my mentor again, Dr. Tall, thank him for like being skeptical, which is one of the main characteristics of a high level scientist, to just be like, this doesn't make sense. Like just based off the logic and other stuff that we know, this doesn't check out. And then he attacks that problem. And my first publication was basically disproving and telling another, like within the field, just being like, this paper is wrong. This is not correct as a foundational pillar, which was awesome for me. I felt great because I'm like, yeah, we did something here. And then the next one that I'm working on now that's kind of in the pipeline of being published was basically the same thing, of something that the lab from the University of China or wherever it's from said. And then we tested it, and then
University of China.
Yeah, I forget. I wish I knew their
whole China.
Yeah, I forget what the institution was really, but
probably be a tough name to say. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
for me or you.
They but yeah, I presented my research at every field of research has like their own unique conference that they go to. So we were at the Adhesion GPCR retreat down in Mexico City. It was. And I presented at this point, the project was very novice in the sense of we only had like a few figures put together for like the ultimate manuscript that we ultimately submitted. But I presented my research basically saying like the steroids do not activate this receptor. And the guy that ran the lab and published the paper of the steroids do activate the receptor was there. Yeah. And one, it's nerve-wracking to go up and present in front of experts in the field. At that point, I was, I think, a fourth-year PhD student, so I was getting to that point, but I was confident enough to get up there and be like, I trust my science. I trust what I did. Like, this is what I did. I'm good. And then presenting that to him, and him immediately, literally the first, it was like a group thing in the sense of, a group section of the conference where like each person presents their like 15-minute presentation, and then the questions for like the whole panel would kind of like the 4 students that presented, including myself, would field the questions that would come in. So he had to sit there and wait for like 2 other presentations. But the moment that the questions were open, he jumped up and gave like a 4-minute spiel of like how what I'm doing is wrong. It's like, we have assays that test this, and you got to talk to my postdoc back there. And I was like, yeah, I'm more than glad to. I was like, I feel the question properly. I was like, yeah, I'm more than glad to chat about it. Maybe there's something we could talk about. Maybe there's something you're missing, something we're missing. Obviously something he's missing. But then the coolest thing was that he ended up leaving the conference.
Yeah.
He took his lab after he gave his talk, took his lab and left. So he flew from China to Mexico City, saw my presentation, was like, ah, shit. And then his students were presenting posters and he removed them from the poster session and took everyone out and then went back. And I was like, you want to talk about a good,
yeah.
I mean, scientists, we kind of work in the shadows. We're not in the spotlight unless you're obviously a Fauci or something like that. But the benchtop scientist doesn't really get much spotlight or like praise. But that was
that was your Super Bowl?
That was a very cool moment in my career to be like, yeah, I have actual data of like rigorous science that is done. And what do you have to say? And he's like, just basically a filibuster for four minutes. And then he's like, I'm out of here.
He's like, turns out I don't have more than 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Man, so got any trips to China planned?
No,
I don't know. You'd be welcome. They'll probably get you flagged now.
Trying to avoid that at all costs. It's funny too, just the kind of little, I call it drama, but it's like just like dramas everywhere, even in the academic science world.
You know, that was let's be honest, that was a Connor Jeremy Stevens. Who the fuck is that guy?
Exactly.
That's what you just did to him, and he was like, "You're a bitch."
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck are you? He's like, "Fine, I'm out."
It was really cool. It's one of my kind of like highlight moments of my PhD career there. That was fun.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so now he's I don't know where he's at. I know there's still papers coming out being published of like the steroids do activate the receptor, but then there's also people working on the receptor as well that are showing, and they're validating my research too.
Yeah.
Which ironically, maybe coincidentally, I don't know which word to use there, but the labs that are publishing the work that are supporting that the steroid activates the receptor are all from China, which the guy that spoke up and the guys whose research that I challenged was basically the head guy in there for the field, let alone like kind of research in China from the pharmacology field. But, and then the people that are kind of supporting us are like people that we kind of trust that have been validated before. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's got to be, I mean, I don't know. Was that dude ever American educated that you know of? Did he come over here to get something, or did he do all of his everything over there?
I don't know.
Which is fine, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you can't like totally discredit it, but unfortunately it is kind of a state-run deal. So
yeah,
whether he was right or wrong, or whether he knew he was right or wrong, to a degree, he might not have had all the choice in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
That's a tough thing because
he
could have been right and then wasn't allowed to present it.
Yeah, very much. I mean, so.
Not right in the sense that you were wrong.
Correct.
But right in the sense that he was like, I know that you're right, but I have to present it this way because this is what I was told to do.
Yeah,
maybe not though.
Yeah,
that gets a little bit conspiratorial, but I mean,
for sure.
I mean, that's kind of a funny thing with grants or any of that funding, any of that stuff, because especially if you're a young breakthrough whatever scientist, you could get roped in with someone who wants to fund you, but then you have to present things a certain way if they want to, or they pull your funding sort of deal.
For sure.
And then pull your funding and blackball you, and then you don't get funding because you're a whatever, hard to work with, whatever they use with actresses.
Yeah. No, that's a real thing too.
Which is a shame.
Yeah. I mean, like I go back to that academic setting and the cutthroat nature to it, and just it's all about you want to be funded, because obviously the biggest funded labs are usually the ones that are the most respected. They're kind of getting you end up producing more science because you have more money to do more things. Probably more personnel contribute to that, but
you think it ends up being like I mean, obviously there's always going to be people who disagree and have counter information or counter studies or this or that, but do you think largely the science field agrees, like in the end, of what is right and what is wrong, even though you can put both sets of, like this guy's still putting out studies. You guys already have your studies out. So do you think by and large that the medical. I keep wanting to say medical.
Yeah.
The scientific community overall agrees on what is considered to be right, even if it's proven wrong 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, do you think generally they all come to kind of a consensus?
Correct.
At least the majority. It's like trolls on social media as opposed to normal people who are like, yeah, this is right.
Yeah, there's some truth to that. There's it's tough. I think there was somebody, I don't know if it was a Nature article or something. It might have been an opinion piece, honestly, but I think that the rule of thumb is like a third of all studies are actually reproducible in the lab setting, which is obviously 33%. It's not comforting to hear. But
baseball, those pretty good numbers.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, it really is. But the problem with that is that, I mean, if I were to do an experiment in my lab with my hand, like me as a human being doing it, our reagents and protocols and all that type of, like, I don't know, every variable you could possibly control, I could give you the exact same thing and things just may be different. Essentially what you want to do is try to remove as much, one, bias, two, like, confounding variables from the protocol and the experiment so that you would be able to reproduce it. That's like the goal. So then that's kind of like what we focus on, at least. And I've seen, like, I don't know, other labs kind of just fire at the wall, kind of just run, do something quick, publish it, do something quick, publish it. But it takes a patience and rigor to really, like, focus in and, like, troubleshoot, even if it's like makes sense. They always say like an N of 3 is like statistically significant in like a biochemistry type of setting, where like if you do the experiment 3 times and they kind of fall within the same standard error, then it's like, yeah, that's good. You could publish that type of thing. But then the problem is you could do something like the same experiment and have something different. Obviously something is contributing to that, but it's a reproducibility is kind of a difficult thing in the sense of like the science world. But I think if you do really good science, it kind of speaks for itself, I guess is the best way to put it.